Hey crafty friends, today I want to give you a little tour around my craft room. I've made so many changes in here in the last year. I switched up my paper storage, stamp storage, mixed media supply storage, embellishments, and I moved everything around and rearranged. So lots has changed. If you want to see how my room used to look, I will leave that video linked down in the description box below. And this is also a collaboration with the creative design team. So there is a whole list of videos to inspire you with different organizational ideas. And I will link that at the end of today's video. So let's go ahead and jump into the tour. So first off, I just want to show you where my room is positioned. I am in the bonus room above our garage. So there's our stairs to go downstairs. And I don't have a door or a wall on my room, so I'm very much a part of the house, which is nice and also not so nice because the noise really does carry, which isn't ideal for filming. I have an Ikea Kallax over on this side. This hasn't changed as far as placement. And there is my forever companion, Frankie, our little miniature dash hound. Wherever I am, he is also there. He loves to be included in whatever I'm doing. Don't you, buddy? Yeah. So he's just hanging out there. Then I have a large table. This is actually a kitchen island that I picked up from a furniture store that was like super marked down. Super heavy table. A newer addition is my walking pad. That was a birthday present to myself, so that I can do some walking in here while I am working on things at that table. And we do so much sitting, it's nice to be able to move around. This is a shared space, so I have like a little school corner here for my daughter. She's in preschool, and the tent here is actually hers, but Frankie has taken it over. Maybe we can catch him in there later. He has a little heated bed in there, and that's his favorite place to hang out. Then I have my desk with my filming setup over on this side of the room. So this has changed. This was over in the other corner. And this is the main spot where I sit and I film. And then I have more new storage. These ones are new, the Ikea Kallax. And then I kind of reworked storage that I already had over in this corner. And then I did get myself a cart. In my last video, I think I had showed you that I got a cart for my daughter, so she has her own art cart, and I loved it so much I really wanted one for myself. Over on this wall, it's kind of recessed here to this window, so it kind of juts out a little bit, and these dressers from Ikea, these are the Malm dressers, they fit in there perfectly. So I have 3 of those dressers. And I have my little die cutting station here. This was actually a Christmas present, and it was the perfect thing to clean up this corner and put all my plates and die cutting tools and things in there. Then I have my sewing machine, laminator, just kind of hiding out behind there, my Cricut press, some mists, and my Mink machine. There's Frankie again over there. And then one last thing here, hopefully I'm not making you dizzy, is Isabella's little art station. You better believe it is almost never this clean. I did have to scrub this table down. I have like a little craft mat on here. It's like a little rubberized craft mat, and it is really helping to keep the table clean, or at least make it wipeable. And then she still has her cart. She loves it. She comes in here and crafts with me all the time. And then on my table, I do have a beautiful bouquet of flowers right now. I usually keep flowers down in my kitchen, but I found they last so much better up here, probably because it doesn't get as hot. It's a lot cooler up here. And these were a beautiful surprise last week, actually, from my husband and Isabella. They came to surprise me with these. I love having fresh flowers in my room. Doesn't always happen. Now let's go over to the Kallax, and I'm going to show you a little close-up of what's in here. I do have a separate video that is all about how I organize my cardstock here, but let's start at the top. I have a bin here. These are all from Ikea. They don't carry this color anymore, which is kind of sad because this matches so nicely. So I can't get any more of these bins, but it's full of mini albums. Mini albums aren't something I make much anymore because I find they just don't get looked at. I've stored them in a few different areas and they just don't get looked at. Photo props, so I have like greenery and different kinds of flowers, faux flowers in there for taking pictures of my cards. This one is kind of like the junk drawer of my room. So it has like old craft mats and cut and dry foam and extra palette of watercolors, just kind of anything that I don't really have a good spot for, that's that. And then here I just have a bunch of bags. A lot of my clear zip top 12 by 12 bags are in there. Now down here I have all my cardstock. I have extra cardstock, any kind of specialty paper like Bristol paper, watercolor paper, manila paper, all those kinds of things are all just like tucked in here. Lots of extra white cardstock, which actually I could restock my tray where I keep my white cardstock. I'll show you later on my desk. I did a whole video on how I did all the labels and everything for my cardstock storage. These ones here are all close to my heart colors. So they are retired. They are no longer around. Close to my heart, closed down. So I'm not adding any new colors to this. You can see all my labels are like nicely staggered. I'm not planning on inserting any colors in between here. This is just how it's going to stay. It has the name on one side and then a color swatch on the other side, so it looks pretty from both sides. I did use Avery adhesive labels on here, which they have stuck pretty good. A few of them that were on these Caydo folders, these are the Caydo paper holders, and I really like them. They are open on the top. And I put all my scraps and my full pieces of cardstock in there, and it works really well. But if you fill them too full, these adhesive labels just don't like to stick. So I did have to add a little extra packing tape to some of them, just on the back side, because there is, if you can see, like a little seam. And right there, it just doesn't want to stick on top of there if the folder is like really full. So that is how I have all of my cardstock. I have been using some of my old Close to My Heart cardstock. Stampin' Up! Is coming out with more and more colors in their two-tone color palette. So this might need to shift a little bit. I might need to purge some of these colors. We shall see. I still really love a lot of these colors. Plus I have pattern paper that uses these colors. Now in here, I also have all my glitter papers and things like that. I still have not labeled a lot of these. A few of them have labels, but I haven't labeled a lot of them. I don't think I'm going to necessarily, because it's very easy to see what they are when I pull them out. I have acetate in here. I have some extra DSP from Stampin' Up, the Country Woods. And then we're starting to get into Stampin' Up. So I have like my combo packs of 12 by 12 cardstock in here. And I will need to make some room for the single pack colors, which I haven't really collected yet. And I hadn't intended to, but I did. I did end up falling in love with the 8.5 by 11 Stampin' Up! Cardstock. So I got these job ticket holders and I got them off of Amazon. I can link them along with everything else for you down in the description. And I did do some clear labels. I cut cardstock strips and I used score tape to stick them onto both sides at the top. So I have a really good color label up there. And then I label it with the name of the color. And these hold 8.5 by 11. They are super sturdy plastic, like very nice, strong plastic. And I just really enjoy the 8.5 by 11 cardstock for card bases and also for die cutting, because you don't have that white edge. When you die cut something, you have a nice solid colored edge. Plus, I think it's a little bit heavier weight, so it holds up a little bit better when you're doing like intricate die cuts and card bases and things. So I have started collecting those colors. I debated whether I wanted to put them up like this or if I wanted to flip them down like this and kind of have the color tabs hanging over the edge, which I could also do, but then it looked kind of funny having this big gap at the top. So I decided to go this way. I might change my mind, but for now, that is what I'm going with. Now, when I did this kind of rearrange of my room over the summertime, I purchased 4 of the door inserts for the Kallax from Ikea. And this is where I am putting a lot of my mixed media supplies. So I like that everything is upright. I don't have to worry about things laying on their side and spilling out. This one is all the mediums, the gesso, the texture paste, the gel medium, all those kinds of things. I have crackle mediums in there and all kinds of things. Now, as you can see, it is tiered in there, and it's kind of hard for me to show you in this one. I'll open the next one and show you how I got it tiered in there. So here we have paint. I have some little acrylic risers in here. There, I think you can kind of see. I will link them down below for you. This one has 3 steps on it, and there's 1, 2, and then a third one up there. They also had ones that had 4 steps, so if you didn't have really big bottles to put in the back, you could get one with 1 more step to it, and that would still fit in here. It took me a little bit of searching on Amazon to find ones that were the right width, but these ones are the perfect width. You can get them in even once the door is attached. You can get them in and out, and you don't lose a lot on the side. They're almost like the perfect measurement. And I really love that I can just close the door on it and it looks neat and tidy and put away. Now over in this next one here, I have my airbrush system for Copics and I have a cinch machine. I'm not sure that storing that on its side is like the smartest thing. So if you know if that like is a problem storing on its side, please leave a comment down below. That's how I have it for right now, but I realize it might not be the best way to store it. And then this one I think I'm probably going to change up. I have a bunch of just random stamps from all different kinds of brands. These aren't ones that I found myself reaching for. There are a lot of stamps that I do like, and some of them are more like art journaling stamps. I have a bin in here. This is actually from Dollarama. So if you're in Canada, I highly recommend checking out their bin and basket selection because they are fairly inexpensive. I want to say this was like $3 or $4, which isn't bad, and they're really nice thick acrylic. So you can see I have quite a few in here, and when I redid my stamp storage from the Close to My Heart old style organizers that I had on all these shelves, these ones just didn't fit into the new storage, and so they ended up in here. I'm still deciding. I have not reached for them in the last 6 months, so that's probably a sign I could get rid of them and be completely fine. Then down below, I have another row of bins. So these are my alphabet stamps. I have smaller sets in there. And then I have these really large 8.5 by 11 size sets from Close to My Heart. These are ones that I could probably get rid of as well, but one step at a time. I don't use alphabet stamps that much. I prefer dies or my Cricut. And then I also have some boxes of mini stamps from Close to My Heart. These were little like M-size stamps where there's like 1 stamp on each. There's probably a better way to store those or condense them. But for now, I don't really need these spaces. So until I have something where I'm like, okay, I'm out of storage and I need space for that, those are just gonna live there. Over here is my patterned paper storage. So I did go through and purge quite a bit. And I actually have quite a bit of room in here that I can fit more in. I don't have any dividers or anything, but I do kind of have like all my florals together, all my seasonal together, that kind of thing. I just don't have it tabbed and marked up. And then this is also patterned paper. So basically what I have in here right now are Close to My Heart and a few packs from other brands that I've had for quite a while. And I have not put any Stampin' Up! Paper in here because I have a different place that I'm storing that right now, and I will show that to you in a minute. All right, let's come over to this side of the room. These are the Ikea Malm Dressers, and on top here I have these 3-tiered rotating stands. These are meant to be like pantry organizers that you can put in the corner of a pantry and then just rotate. They are actually really nice. I got them off of Amazon, and last time I looked, I could not find a link for these exact ones, but there are some different ones on there, so I'll see if I can link anything for you. And then I do have my mini ink machine out here on the top. Inside this first one, I have Stampin' Up! Stamps, dies, some ephemera packs and things in the back, and then some kits and paper pumpkin boxes here. Don't be deceived, I do have more Stampin' Up! Stamps, and I am going to probably need to get these out of here very soon so that I can spread out and use another row or so here. These take up a fair bit of room, but I am hesitant to take them out of the cases because I kind of like having them in the cases, and I think it makes it easier in case I want to pass them along to anybody. I do like that when I open the drawer, I can easily see what is in here, but I wish that they were a bit thinner, especially the ones that store the photopolymer stamps, because they really don't need to be this thick. But so far, this is working for me. When I outgrow this drawer, I have a couple of options. I can either look at getting like a bookcase because I have room over next to the Kallax, or I have this drawer here, which is a lot of mixed media supplies, art journaling supplies, paper flowers that I have not used in a long time, my technique tags, pieces for like canvases and things like that that are very textured. And I could clear out this drawer. I don't use much of it. I usually use like doilies and tissue paper and things like that. But I could clean this out and make room for more stamp sets in here. And then this bottom one here is extra ATG refills. I have my pocket cards in here. I have some journaling cards. I really had nowhere else to put this, so that's why that is there. I don't reach for them that often. And then I have my new Stampin' Up! Apron that I was sent. And then I have catalogs in there, just so I have them handy somewhere that I can grab them quickly. In between here is where I keep like my Cricut mats, and I have a hard like wood panel for doing watercolors, so I can tape down my watercolors. On top of the next one, you saw I have my Cricut press, sewing machine, etc. And now this is where I have all of my close to my heart stamps. I absolutely love this solution, and I wish I would have thought of it when I was actually, buying new close to my heart stamps all the time before they closed, because this solution is awesome. So I will let you watch that video, but I used the dividers here. They're like drawer dividers meant for clothes and things like that. And they just easily snap in. They're kind of like tension rods in there. And you can add little dividers for different sections, or you could put some at the back so that your stamps don't go all the way to the back, because those are kind of tricky to reach back there. But I fit so many stamps in this dresser. And yes, I do have a full dresser. I have labeled all of my categories on here, and these are the categories that I have in the Notebook app, which is the app that I use to catalog all of my stamps and dies. And I will make sure that I link that video below for you in case you want to see that and see how I catalog everything. So yes, not just 2, but 3 drawers of stamps. And I imagine eventually over time, I will kind of thin these out. If I find that I'm not reaching for them enough, which I do still reach for these quite a bit, if I'm not reaching for them enough, I can always clean some of them out, pass them along, and then maybe put some of my Stampin' Up! Stamps in here. For this last dresser, I have my little die cutting center up here. I have my extra trimmer, my Tim Holtz trimmer, my Big Shot, a long arm stapler. I really don't have another good spot for this. It's not that it gets used all the time, but I do find myself using it sometimes. So that one is staying put over here. And then this little organizer, I got it as a Christmas present from my friend Michelle, and I love it. It's the perfect thing, exactly what I needed for over here, because I just had a basket with like all my plates just kind of chucked in there. Fits all these things, plus I'm trying to work through some of my close to my heart cardstock, especially ones in like colors that I'll probably never use, and use them for die cutting, to stack die cuts, to do test die cutting. So that is in there. So hopefully I will use it. More plates, spatula, all those kinds of things, extra staples. I really love how cute this is, and it was just the perfect thing for this corner. Now inside my dresser here, I have my dies. So we have some other brands of dies over here. And then I have a lot of close to my heart dies. I have these little holders from Amazon, and then the magnets that are inside are actually ones that I had left over from all my close to my heart die storage. And I combined several sets on each one, so, or any that I could. You can see I have 3 different sets in here, so I had extra magnet sheets left over. I don't have these divided into sections, but I typically keep them as like shapes and things at the front because they're my most used. I keep all the words together, all the Christmases at the back, so I know what I have in there. These are all the larger ones, like the doily, the alphabets, slim lines, all that kind of stuff. I have some press and seal there at the back. All the bins that are in here, there's a couple different designs, but they are all from Dollarama as well. And then over here I have extra magnet sheets, extra Stampin' Up! Die pockets from leftover when I've combined them into the stamp cases. I guess it's something I haven't shown. Maybe I should show you that. So if you watch my other videos, then you know this is how I store my Stampin' Die sets, but maybe you haven't seen my other videos. So I put the stamps into the case like this, and then I take a piece of 5x7 magnet sheet that is adhesive on one side. I get them off of Amazon, and then I just stick all my dies in there. And for the most part, most sets fit in like that. Sometimes I might have to put an extra piece of magnet in here if there's some pieces that just won't fit all on one sheet, but for the most part, they do all fit like that. And I love having them all together. I have also gone in, I haven't on all of them because sometimes I forget, but I use a little white paint pen and write the number for the die set. Because when you move the dies into the stamp case, you have the number on the front for the stamps, but you don't for the dies. So that's how I like to keep those. So yes, all my extra storage envelopes and things are over here, extra magnet sheets and whatnot. And then down on this next drawer, I have a lot of my embossing. So I have like the really large, like 3D embossing folders over here. I have some smaller ones here, and a whole bunch through the middle. I have a lot of embossing folders, and since coming over to Stampin' Up, I have really like rediscovered my love for embossing folders. So it is getting kind of full in here. I might have to do a little bit of purging to make some room, maybe get rid of some of my older ones that I don't use as much anymore, because I am really obsessed with the 3D look. I really love how those look. There is no rhyme or reason other than size, keeping like similar sized ones. These ones here are all Stampin' Up! Ones right here at the front, except for the really big Stampin' Up! Ones. Those are going over here. But other than that, there's really not any categories or anything, and that is fine with me. I do have them in my phone in the notebook app, so I can scroll through there to see what I have, rather than actually flipping through the product. Now, if you can see at the back here, I actually have background stamps. So large background stamps, that's what's in here. I'm keeping them for now to see if I end up using them. The one bad thing about Ikea storage is the drawers do not pull out all the way. I know there's hacks where you can make the drawers pull out all the way, but that makes me nervous. I don't want them to like break or fall on my daughter if she pulls open a drawer. So I haven't gone ahead and done that. So usually I just put things that I don't reach for all the time in the back, and that's one of them. Something that I still want to have for now, but I may get rid of them in the future. These are drawer organizers from Ikea. I have a bunch of them. They come in like a multiple pack. And there's like big square ones, longer rectangular ones, small square ones, and that is what's holding those. Then over here, we kind of have a bunch of like boxes and containers. I have like laminating pouches. I have special paper that I bought for my mink. I have some card bases and acetate projector overlays, what I use for my acetate. It's kind of big, bulky things that don't really fit anywhere else go there. And it does make sense because this bottom drawer, I have all my envelopes, other envelopes, plastic storage sleeves for cards, tags, photo placeholders. And then I have a little bit of 8.5 by 11 cardstock in here. This is the Hamilco cardstock. And then I have some like Michael's shimmery cardstock and things under here. So I know where the things are. It's not the easiest to access, and probably if I do put in a bookshelf, I might move those up onto a bookshelf. But for now, this works. Now coming over here to this cart, I did get it off of Amazon. You can get similar carts from Michael's, from Ikea. This one is from Amazon, and this is my project cart. So right now the project that's in here is my December daily supplies. So you can see I have more Stampin' Up! Sets here, close to my heart sets, and then a whole bunch of die sets, everything that I kind of pulled that I might want to work on my December daily, as well as like the page protectors, my little planning sheet, some cardstock, things like that. And then I have a bunch of embellishments and pieces that I die cut. All of these organizers are from Dollarama. This one has like a little divider in there halfway. And these ones actually work really nice because they just stack in here. So this is really nice. I have like all my little pieces for my numbers, and I have like die cut greenery. I have some stamps mounted on blocks for stamping my journaling lines. And then I have my album back there for my December daily. This year I did a 10 by 8, and I am about halfway done it. And I'm keeping my things in this cart until I get it done. So I like having this project cart because I just change it out with what I have on the go at the moment. And then down here on the bottom, I've kind of got into like some collage journaling. So I have my paints and supplies that I need for that, my scissors, and then my collage books and different things that all go along with this. So this is my like fun little hobby right now, if I can find time to get around to it. So I do keep these here because it's a great place for them, and I see them and it reminds me that I want to take time to do that. So once I'm finished with my December daily, these pieces will all come out and go into my regular storage, and I'll probably go back to how I was using it before, which is to put all my new releases for Stampin' Up! Into this cart. Right now I have them somewhere else, and I'm going to show you that. This little case right here is a smaller Expedite, which is the old version of the Kallax. This was one that we had at our old house, and it was dark brown, and it got painted and then sealed, and whatever the sealer was that got on it, it turned it yellow. So this still needs to be repainted. Probably eventually what's going to happen is this is just going to move down to the basement to hold toys, and I'm going to get a new one and maybe a bigger one for over here so that I can eventually phase out these ones right here. They're not my favorite storage anymore, and so I might just get a bigger Kallax to go over in this corner. So up at the top, I have my Prismacolor pencils in this wallet. All of these 3 are Tim Holtz stamps. And then I have like a little tray that holds like some bling and some stamped images for a current project that I'm working on. And then down here I have all of my how-to books from close to my heart. And I have 8.5 by 11 page protectors, and these are the shop ticket holders that I got from Amazon that are holding my cardstock, the 8.5 by 11 cardstock that I showed you. That's the holders for those. I didn't have another good spot to put that box, so that's where it's going for now. Then I have mixed media books. I have some binders for business stuff and color mixing books. I have all of my creative design team sketchbooks. These ones here, I've actually had them bound at Staples, so they all look nice and professional. And then I recently found these books at the dollar store, and they are just like a coil bound notebook, but inside they have top loading pages. So I have a bunch of empty pages still in here that I could fill, but you can slide the paper just in and out from the top, which is really nice. And I think I'm going to enjoy using them like that because I love coil binding when you can just like flip the pages over and tuck them under. These 2 binders here, or albums I should say, are my newest solution for embellishment storage. So let's go over to my table and I will show you those. So this storage solution was inspired first by Janice and then by Jama. And basically, you just take your sticker sheets, your paperboard pieces, and just split them all apart. And what I decided to do that I thought would make the most sense for me was to group like stickers and embellishments with like. So I decided to put all my words together. So no matter what pack they're from, all my words are going in here, even things that I printed out and cut myself. These are like the old school sticky pages that you used to like put your photos on, although they are like acid free now. I got the books where they come with the pages already in them because at the time I couldn't find any inexpensive ones that were with the holes for the rings. And so this was the most economical that I could find at the time. I have since found ones that are 3-hole punched and a lot more economical, so I will link those for you guys, but they are smaller. I do like that these pages are bigger. They're not quite 12 by 12, but they work really well and I can fit a lot on here, and as you can see, they fit perfectly on that shelf. So I got a lot of words. I got a lot of words, and here we're getting into some digital images. These are ones that I have, well, I have some that I've stamped, I have some I've die cut, I have some that I've already colored, some digital ones that I have done print and cut on. So these were some titles that I made for one of my workshops and I had extras printed of, and all kinds of things in here. Then we're getting into like labels, tags. So you can see I just have everything grouped by category, and so far this is working really well. Now back over here to my shelf, I have one of these like tray organizers from Close to My Heart. It was the Workspace Wonder set, and each tray is individual and they kind of nest on top of each other. I have more over on my desk and I'll show you those better when we get over there. But I use this for layouts that have been finished that need journaling on them, layouts that need to be filed, maybe layouts that need pictures now that I'm doing more workshop guides. And I tend to make those without pictures on them because they're just easier to photograph and share. And then I also have like layouts in progress. So when I'm filming something, I can put it on the tray here if I need to get it off my desk. And then over here, I have 2 different albums. These are Close to My Heart albums that have my stencils in them. A like handwriting program that I got from Close to My Heart. I have another, this is a thin 12 by 12 album that I want to do like a pregnancy scrapbook in. And then this is Isabella's first year album. I am close to getting this done. I just have a few more layouts. I'm almost there. So I really want to get that done this year. I'll pull out one of my stencil albums so you can have a look at that real quick. So these are 12 by 12 albums. And for some of my smaller stencils, I have 6 by 6 Project Life pages. So I don't believe they make them anymore, but I was able to grab, I think it was like a couple boxes of them at the time when Michael's used to carry Project Life, and they are divided into 4s and they work perfectly for these smaller stencils. So I have been hoarding these pages because they work so well. I have white cardstock slipped in the pocket, and then I have a lot of them I do have labeled, and then I can just slip all of them in there. And then when it comes to like larger stencils, I just put those into 12 by 12 page protectors, and I've largely used old page protectors, like old albums that I've taken apart, like the really cheap ones from Michael's, you know, where the albums like crapped out on me and they were falling apart. I saved all of those page protectors to store my stencils because I have quite a few stencils. I used to teach like art journaling classes all the time, and so my stencils really got a workout. This is the best storage that I found. I used to have like an iris bin with all my stencils just like laid in there, and they always got snagged on each other. And I just love this solution so much more. They stay nice and tidy. They all have a spot to go back to, and they just sit nicely on my shelf, and they don't actually take that much room up. Okay, back over to this side, I have one of these buckets for tools, It's a lot of tools that I don't use very often, but I don't want to get rid of. I have an extra ATG gun. So my hole punches and stuff are in here, circle punches, border punches, extra heat tools, all that kind of stuff in there. Then I have one for Isabella's craft supplies. So when I get her new things, or if I get a 30 pack of glue sticks, I need a spot to put those. Here I have office supplies. This one actually has trays in it. So I have stuff in each tray and then I just lift out the trays to get to the bottom. But mostly I come in here either for tape or for my label maker and my label maker refills. I did start buying like the off-brand refills for this because I just couldn't stomach the like $20 for one refill when you can get like 5 for 20. So I will, if I can, I will link these. I get them off Amazon. I have clear and I have white. I find the clear so far has been working better than the white. I do say they do not work nearly as good as the brand ones, but even if you have some wasted, it still, I think, probably works out cheaper than how much those refills are. And then I have shipping supplies over here. This was a really cool find. So this is a sizing guide, so I can see what size my cards are, if they are going to fit the mail slot or not, or if they need extra postage. So I have like the, let's see, is there a good color here I can show you? So the height and width of standard letter mail in Canada and the oversized letter mail, and they even have the weights on here. So you could weigh it. Very cool. I just got that off of Amazon and so far it has proven accurate. I haven't had any problems. So I keep all my extra envelopes, stamps, packing tape, all that kind of stuff in there. Now coming over here, this is kind of some storage that I've had for quite a long time. These towers were originally from Costco and Michael's, and they hold the iris containers, and they kind of are like a little drawer system. So you just like pull the drawers in and out like that. I have like artwork and Isabella's birthday cards, memorabilia. I have some drawing supplies in there, Disney stuff. I have some stuff for an album for Cody. I have, what's this one? Oh, some projects in progress. Everything I need for Isabella's first year album. Other projects. Then I have my flip-flops. Super excited. I did stock up on flip-flops before Close to My Heart went out of business, but Stampin' Up! Is carrying flip-flops now, which is super exciting. Then I have page protectors in various sizes and then 12 by 12 page protectors down there. And then I have like a recipe book project in here. I have all my paper storage. So my Caydo paper holders is 6 by 6, the 12 by 12, the Avery label holders. So if I need any of those items, they're in there. I have calendar layouts in here when I used to make calendars all the time. Like I probably could go through this and clean it out a bit and downsize it. Layouts that need journaling, finished layouts that need pictures, and then I have some bins with years on them, which is where I file my layouts until I'm ready to fill an album. Once they have pictures and journaling and they're all finished, they go in here until I'm ready to fill a new album. And that usually works pretty good for me. And then up at the very top here, I have all my card storage. These are the old organizers from Close to My Heart that I used to store all my stamps in. And they used to be in my Kallax unit, but now I have all my cards in them. The medium size organizers are the best size for like 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch cards. But I only had one left of those. So all 3 of those have cards that are like made cards that are ready to give away. And then I have an old Close to My Heart organizer that has sponge daubers in it. Then over here beside this, I have one of my new storage sections, and I absolutely love these. I already had one set of the long Alex drawers, and I knew I really liked them. So when I was kind of reconfiguring things, I was like, you know what? I want to add more of those drawers. So I did. Let's look at what's on top first. Right now, this is where I have all of my Stampin' Up! Paper. So all the DSP, I have some cardstock in here as well, specialty papers. Basically, newest stuff is at the front, so I can see it all in those Caydo paper holders. And that is just the best way, since a lot of these packs come like shrink wrapped. I just open them up and pop them into an envelope. I have not been labeling my envelopes, but I do keep whatever packaging came with it so that I have the label. I know what colors are in it. I know what the collection is called in case I forget, which happens a lot. But this is actually a pot, like a pot lid holder, and I got that from the dollar store, and it holds this so well. Like, there is a ton of paper. It's super heavy, but it's so sturdy. It's not going to flip on you. I first got this idea with this holder here. This one is actually meant for cutting boards, and that's how I was storing my paper. But yeah, I bought a lot of paper. So I needed a bigger one, and I found this pot holder one. I use this one for my 6x6, and you can see I use the same paper holders for my 6x6 paper. Then everything is right in front of my face. All the new things are right there. These two are also bins from the dollar store, Dollarama. They look very much like fridge bins, so you can get similar things on Amazon and probably like Target if you're in the States, but I don't have access to that, and I find these are really inexpensive and usually cheaper than what I would find at Walmart or Amazon. So I have all my newest stamps, embossing folders, all my bling, my Stampin' Up! Bling is in here with the newest stuff at the front, and ribbons. So those are just the newest ones that I just got. And I like having all this stuff right here handy because that's really what I'm reaching for. That's what I'm making my videos with. And it's just really nice to have it close to where I'm working. I really should say that this craft room is brought to you by Amazon and Ikea, although they didn't fund any of it. I had to buy everything. But this ink pad holder I got off of Amazon. And you know what? I was super impressed because to get like Stampin' Storage in Canada, the shipping is super expensive and duties that you have to pay on top are expensive. So I was looking on Amazon to see what they had, and I found this. It's like foam core board with hard plastic on either side. And it just snaps together. I just snapped it together super quickly. You can see I already need like another one or a bigger one because I ended up collecting all of the ink pad colors. I wasn't really planning to get them all right away, but I ended up doing that. So I have all the colors. I definitely need more storage, but I am really happy with the sturdiness of this. I thought, oh, you know, it might just fall down, but it feels really good. And I mean, stamp pads aren't super heavy, and I would definitely recommend purchasing it because for the price compared to some of the other organizers out there, I think it's not bad at all. Now let's come down here and have a look at what are in these drawers. So this is right behind where I work. So I have nice, easy access to all of these things, and I have labeled with my label maker most things that are in the drawer. Some drawers are kind of like a conglomeration of different things. This one has my brayers, palettes, deli paper for gel printing. My gel plates are in here, and then I also have pan pastels. The pan pastels maybe don't make as much sense, but it's more of a shape issue. They fit really well here. And in the back, I have some stacked pan pastels as well. And then over here, I have pan pastel tools and some blending stumps. This little acrylic bin, this is also from Dollarama. Pretty much all my little bins and everything are. They're super inexpensive, like $1 or something like that. I think $1.25. So this is all sort of my mixed media supplies, inks, and things like that. This drawer here is glitters. I have some glitter cloths to help clean up microfine glitter, seed beads, mica flakes, all that kind of sparkly goodness. And then over here we have all my powders. So these are like pigment powders, mica powders. I have Perfect Pearls and several different brands. Lindy's Stamp Gang over here. I did put them in baskets because I wanted the ability to like pull them out and access what's in the back of my drawer. This is actually a really good sized basket. I like that these are long and skinny, and I can actually put them into my drawer. Just scooch them down in there. It's sometimes hard to do with one hand. And I'm utilizing the back of the drawer, but I can still access them really easily as well. And most of these, what I use them most often for now is mixing them with gel medium and making my own paste. So I can customize them, make my own metallic paste, glitter paste, all that kind of stuff. Here is my embossing drawer. So I have the ultra thick embossing enamel in several colors. And then I have all of my smaller pots of embossing powder, and a lot of these I have swatched on the lid. So that's just pressing the lid into Versamark and then covering it with the embossing powder and melting it. I like doing this because it really makes it easy to see what I have, what colors, what the finish is going to look like when you heat it. And then I also have some of this glitter gel that Close to My Heart used to carry. So I have some in there, some that are open, some that are not. My heat tools, embossing dauber, funnels and spoons for working with embossing powders and glitters. I have a little sticky roller tool here that will pick up all these fine powders and glitters and things, and then you just wash it to get it re-sticky again. Coffee filters, because that's what I catch my embossing powder with, and Versamark, and my little anti-static pouch. And then in the watercolor drawer here, I have Inktense watercolor pencils, twinkling H2Os. I do have some chalk and some watercolor pencils in there. Not everything is strictly watercolor in here. Like I do have some Faber-Castell Pitt pens, but those are things that I would use in like art journaling and things, so it makes sense to store them together. Then I have gelatos, drawing pencils, some soft pastels, colored pencils, my watercolor palette here, the Gansai Tambi, and then this is an alcohol ink palette. Then I have some of the smaller sets from the Kiritaki, the kind of the metallic colors, which I really like. And then I have a koi watercolor set here as well. Oh, and then my bleed proof white. This stuff works really good for white splatters, and the colors from whatever's underneath doesn't bleed up through your white, which is nice. Here, yes, I did panic buy reinkers. So when Close to My Heart closed, I already had a lot of reinkers, but there was still colors that I hadn't bought reinkers for. So I just went all out, bought the remaining reinkers, which is good because I've had a customer to come asking for refills for some of their colors, and I've been able to help them out. These bottles do hold a lot of ink, and you can use an ink pad for a very long time and just keep re-inking it. So even if I want to pass on some of my ink pads, it's nice to be able to sell it with the refill. I've just started getting these Stampin' Up! Refills. So I have the neutral set right there. Then I have alcohol inks, more alcohol inks, the tools and the felts for the alcohol inks. I love these long, like skinny containers. Those are also from Dollarama. This could be up in my watercolor drawer, but it just didn't fit well. So it's down here. This is like powdered watercolors, the Color Burst. And then I have my India inks and my acrylic inks in here. So that's a really fun drawer. And then my Mink drawer. So this is everything that I need to use my Mink except for the Mink itself. I have different mediums, different types of foil. I've just started using my Mink again, so I'm looking forward to playing even more with this. I started using it on my December daily project, and it kind of got me back into wanting to Mink everything, especially now that I do have a laser printer. That makes it a lot easier to use. Now over here at this next one, I have brushes, palette knives, pipettes, basically any kind of tool that I would want for mixed media. Then I have some acrylic paint pens. I definitely have room to grow here. Not that I need to, but I do have extra room in there. And then these are all water brushes, different brands, different sizes. Some of these, I have so many because when I was teaching classes, I just ended up with extras. And then here I have my nice set of watercolor brushes. I like to keep those separate so I'm not using them with acrylics. This is an acrylic drawer. Speaking of, I got some nice little tubes of acrylic paint for Christmas, actually. This is a newer gift for Christmas. And then I have acrylic paint markers and some shimmery, like metallic paint markers and some tubes of acrylic paint there. I really love those drawers. You open them, there's all the pretty colors. This one is all packaging, bags, and different bags for gifting things. I have a couple of leftover stockings from the kit, the paper pumpkin kit at Christmas time. And I gave most of those away, but I did have a couple extras. This drawer is not labeled because it's kind of a mishmash right now. I have my washi tape in here. I have a whole bunch of like extra die cuts, extra stitching panels. For some reason, I have a ton of Velcro. So I got all my Velcro in here and an extra book with embellishments. I will show you when I get over to my embellishment drawer what that's all about. And then here is my stitching drawer. So I do have lots of baker's twine, especially when I was teaching classes. I bought these like ginormous rolls of baker's twine. So I will probably have baker's twine forever. And then I have my on-the-go stitching bag, extra bobbins, extra threads, my main thread box where I store stuff. And then I also have spools of thread for my sewing machine, needles, pins, all that kind of stuff. It's really helpful to be able to split up these big drawers with some sort of baskets or containers, because I think if you don't have these in here, you just can't utilize the space as well. Now I have a bigger basket here with older ribbon. We got Close to My Heart ribbon, Michael's ribbon, that kind of stuff. I have one here with Stampin' Up, some with some extra Close to My Heart shimmer trim, and then all my twines, threads, those kinds of things. And then at the back here, I have some cording and a lot of seam binding. Again, when I was teaching classes all the time, seam binding was an inexpensive way to have ribbon, like a lot of ribbon. So I would buy these mega rolls. And yeah, so I still have lots of that. These containers, this was the newer one that I had found at Dollarama. And the ones that I showed you in my cart is a smaller version, and this is a longer version. And they hold spools of ribbon perfectly. And I love that you can just grab out one little section, take it to your table or wherever, and they just work perfectly. They don't hold it too snug, but there's not a ton of extra wasted space either. So now we're getting into where my desk is, kind of my main working area. And this stand over here, I always get questions on it. Everyone wants to know where it's from because it works really good to hold my Cricut, my printers, and I love having them all together just stacked on top of each other. I actually got it from Leon's, which is a furniture store, and I got it years ago, like I think like 2005. So I don't know if you could find anything like this. I think it was originally designed for a home office or for a microwave. I can't remember if it was like in the office section or if it was like a microwave stand. I think it might have been in the home office section, but it fits a Cricut perfectly, goes right across. I have it pulled out a little bit so that the mat can go behind it. And then I have my lovely Epson 8500 printer here. I love this printer. I use it all the time. I print all my photos on it. It does a beautiful job. I can print up to 8.5 by 11. And there is a larger version of this that you can print large format, but I went with just like the standard size, and it also prints beautifully on cardstock. I actually have Hammermill cardstock in there right now, and it usually stays in that rear feed, and it just prints beautifully on it. So I can do print and cut on my Cricut, and it does such a good job, and the ink lasts forever. Now I have my laser printer underneath, and that's usually what I use for like quick print jobs. Like if I'm just printing something in black, like statements and things like that. But if I want to print to put it through my Mink, then I will use the little front load hatch here. And then there's a hatch at the back so that your paper can be loaded at the front and go straight through and not wrap around. And that works really well. It's nothing fancy, but it works and does its job. And then the drawer underneath is where I keep printer paper, printer ink, photo paper. So now coming over to my desk, I have the Close to My Heart paper trays here. They just nest right on top of each other and kind of like click in a little bit. I have one of the ribbon organizers, and I keep my most used cardstock here, my white, and I keep the scraps right on top so that I can just use those up first for any small pieces, and that way I'm not cutting into any big sheets. Then I have my planner, my catalogs, my receipts and things for filing, and I have some notebooks on that last one. So kind of business sort of stuff that I don't really want out, but I need to have handy. And then in all of these trays over here, I have distress paint. I am in the midst of trying to use that up and slowly working through those colors. And then I have Copic refills up here. I don't have a lot of them, but I would like to keep picking those up because I have a pretty good Copic marker collection. And then I have shimmer brushes and Wink of Stella brushes up there for adding some shimmer. And then all of my Close to My Heart ink pads right here. I really like these holders, and I like that it can be reconfigured to fit your stash or fit your space. And it's kind of sad that these are gone now. And then I have a few ink spots down there so that I can just grab those easily, Stampin' Up! Ink spots. And then in these pen holders, I have a bunch of different kinds of pens. Brush lettering pens, gel pens, journaling pens, and then down here I have all my Copic markers. These are still my favorite alcohol markers, and I love how they blend and all the different color combinations you can do. And then over here I have a little organizer. This is from Dollarama. I think it was maybe in like the bath or bathroom section, and it just holds all those really important things like scissors, hole punch, spatulas, all those tools I grab for all the time. I also have like my glue and washi tape and lip gloss and all that kind of stuff in there. A tape measure. I can't tell you how many times I've had to measure something up here, so I keep it nice and handy, as well as my little stamp chamois for cleaning my stamps. And I have my cardstock color swatches, Close to My Heart, Stampin' Up!, and my Ready reference, which is a little booklet for demonstrators. And then over here is my computer area. This is my main filming area. This is usually always what you guys see. Don't mind Frankie, he's just over there eating some supper, crunching away. I'm sorry if you can hear him munching in the background. He always picks the best times to have a snack. Then I have all my blending brushes. I use those a ton, so I keep them nice and handy. I don't use them with my Distress Oxide inks. They're only used with dye inks, so I don't have a brush per color or anything. I just grab it. If it looks green, I'll use it. And if I do happen to get some pigment ink or Distress Oxide ink in there, then I will just wash it out. I have my ATG gun. I have my Archon mount. And then I also have my weight here. This is to keep my Archon mount steady. Once I get my phone on there, it feels like it wants to tip over sometimes. So I'm not lifting that weight. I should be, but I'm not. That's just to hold the mount in place. My water mister, some tape, and then my tri-blend markers, as well as my paint markers and some other metallic markers in there. I still love the tri-blends. They're so easy to color with. However, they are starting to dry out slowly, and I just don't know that I want to invest in the refills, because then I need to ship them in from the US, and then you run into customs and duties and all that kind of stuff on top of the shipping cost and the exchange rate. So it sounds very expensive. And I can get Copic refills here in Canada. So I'm thinking I'm just going to keep moving towards my Copics and picking up refills for the colors I have in those. You may have noticed my table. I did recover it. I had the same problem where we had painted it and the paint turned yellow once we sealed it, and I just didn't have time or energy to paint it. So what I ended up doing was getting some, I don't know if it's like wallpaper, considered wallpaper or shelf liner or what. It's kind of has a slick feeling to it, and I got it off of Amazon. And it's pretty good. It went on not too bad. I didn't realize I couldn't overlap it, and because you can see through it, which is not great. I should have butted up right next to it. but that part's usually covered with stuff anyways, because I always have projects out on my desk that I'm working on. But it looks pretty good. The edges are a little bit tricky getting it wrapped around the edge. It's not perfect. And I, in the end, was not happy with how it looked on camera. The marbling was much too dark compared to the picture that I saw. I thought it was going to be much lighter marbling. And so I did end up picking up one of those like photography boards with a little bit more subtle pattern. That's usually what you see when I'm filming. And it just helps to have that extra layer on there because this is shiny and I didn't like the reflection that came off of it. That paper is matte. Now coming under my desk, this is right beside where I work. And I have another one of those long Kallax drawers here. And on top I have Versamats, I have glass mat, I have my stamp platform. And then in the drawers here is where I keep all the stuff I use all the time. So this little organizer here, this plastic organizer has little divided sections in it. And this is designed to go in these drawers. So it is from Ikea. And I will try and find that and link it down below for you. But this one I have all my foam tape, dimensionals, score tape, extra adhesive runners, glue dots, and then my rather large collection of stamping blocks. And my craft mats are tucked in here. That's the perfect size to just slip right in here. I'm surprised that they didn't make this insert to go all the way to the edge, but they didn't. But it actually worked out great because in the next drawer, I also have one of those trays, I have another one, and I have room for my little mini tripod. So that goes in there. And then in this one, I have tools. These are like my lesser used tools that I don't need all the time, but I do want to still have them somewhat handy. Trimmer blades. These are the batteries for my label maker, staples. I got the pick tool recently from Stampin' Up! And I got the extra bonus ends for it. And there's all kinds of cool things. This wheel actually does perforation, which is really cool. And I got staples and mini staples, masking paper, correction tape, alcohol wipes, all kinds of like erasers and sharpeners. And then in here we got pens. The back is kind of like a mishmash of microphones. Got Caydo cards for Isabella, the stamp that goes on the back of my cards, some nail polish, sponges, texture sponges. So just kind of all those little things. And then down here we have embellishments. So these are little containers that I got off of Amazon. They come with a bunch of them in these larger boxes. And in the back, I have the larger boxes filled with things that I don't really use very often because they're very thick, like wood veneer, thicker acrylic pieces, metal pieces, things like that. And then in these containers, I put like shaker pieces and lots of like little embellishments, snowflakes, hearts, acrylic embellishments. And then these are an older, close to my heart organization container. And then this is from Michael's. This here is a tray that is like a re-inker tray for the Close to My Heart ink spinner, the older one. And I just filled it with a bunch of packaged embellishments. And then I told you I was going to show you my little book in here. It's looking a little worse for wear, but this has basically older sticky backed embellishments like rhinestones and all different kinds of bling. So these were some older, I think, Simple Stories page protectors that I wasn't using because they're like the 2-hole punch ones. And so I just put in some printer paper and then stuck a bunch of my older embellishments in there. And that has been working pretty good. So that just slides in there. And then this goes back in like that. And then my distress ink drawer. I love this drawer. It's so pretty. I don't use it enough. I really need to start using it more. I have the distress oxides and the regular distress inks. I don't have all the colors in either of those, but I have a lot. I have a very good selection. All the re-inkers that I have are at the back. And then this here is another clear container from the dollar store. And it just has a couple of compartments. And what I did was I just printed out little pieces of paper with the name of the ink on it and then stuck a little blending foam in there. And then I have my ink blending tools there. I have some like brown and white and black foams right at the front because those are the colors that I usually reach for the most. And I do use these for like my other dye inks as well. I don't use them just with the distress inks, but I have them separated so that the ones that have gray here, those are oxide ones, so that I make sure I don't mix oxide and dye inks. You don't want to be getting oxide ink into your dye ink pads because it might wreck them. So there is a favorite drawer. Oh, did you come to help, Frankie? Hey, you done eating? Now you're going to come help me? Yeah, so helpful. Okay, and then down in this drawer, we have a little bit of mix of stuff. We have liquid pearls and stickles, extra ink pads, kind of like pigment inks and things. I don't use that often. Some stamping foam, some little misting, like mini misters and misting pens. And then I have my permanent inks like archival ink, stays on ink. I have some memento ink in here as well. I have a glue ink pad, hot glue. This one is a new one. I just got this, the silicone craft sheet. Andrea showed a really cool technique with this in our membership, in the CDT membership. And of course, I had to put that on my next order. And hot glue and some extra rags and things, some foil flakes. Now, this is kind of a random drawer, but I know what's in here and I can find the things when I need it. Then I have my Cricut vinyl, Cricut foil, all that kind of stuff in here. And then I have just some like random tools that I use relatively often. I have my bow maker. I have extra like stamp chamois back there, 3-hole punch, stapler, hot knife, all those kinds of things. And then beside that is where I keep my trimmers. So I mostly use the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. I also have the Creative Memories trimmer and a Close to My Heart pizza box for misting. And then with my giant garbage can right beside that, because I hate taking out the garbage. I hope you enjoyed this look at my crafty space. I have been crafting full-time as a job for the past 15 or so years, and things have definitely accumulated over time, but you can definitely craft with much less stuff. I will say this is the happiest I've ever been with my space. I feel like I really nailed down how I like to store things, and I'm definitely a drawer person. I like to have my stuff in drawers and tucked away, but I do need some things out so I remember to use them. So it's kind of a balance for me, and I hope you got some good ideas today of things that could help you store your supplies better. Make sure you go check out the Creative Design Team videos, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.